Ronnie Stanley, Tez Walker, and Nate Wiggins all return to practice today. We do have a new absence in Kyle Hamilton. We'll go over all of the practice details. We also hear from Todd Monken, who responds to John Harbaugh being critical of the play calling and what they need to do to get this run game back on track. And we hear from Zach Orr, who talks about the defense's rough start and what they need to do to turn this around. All that and more in today's episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. So we had some surprisingly good news from practice today. Nate Wiggins, Ronnie Stanley, and Tez Walker all returned to practice. The Nate Wiggins return surprised me the most. I thought this was a pretty quick turnaround. That elbow injury seemed serious. He got carted off in the game. It definitely was a tough hit. And he's already back at practice on a Thursday. So that is great news as long as he gets into practice tomorrow. I think Nate Wiggins is good to go. So that's one guy that a lot of people weren't expecting to be out there Sunday that I think is fine. So incredible news there. The guy's still not out there. Lamar Jackson, Pat Ricard, Roquan Smith, Marlon Humphrey, Chidobe Awuzie, and Kyle Hamilton, which is a new absence. Kyle bothered his groin yesterday in practice. That's why he ended up being limited at practice yesterday. And then he is missing today. I'm not stressing out too much about it yet, but if he does miss practice tomorrow, that's obviously not a great sign. Could mean that this groin injury that he sustained at practice is a little bit more serious, but we have zero information saying that. So let's just monitor tomorrow's injury report. And if Kyle Hamilton practices at all tomorrow, I think he's fine. You know, just because he tweaked his groin a little bit, Kyle Hamilton was in and out of training camp as well as a bunch of guys with groin injuries and soft tissue injuries and things like that. So we'll see. You know, it definitely could be a precautionary rest day for that groin that he tweaked yesterday, and then he comes back tomorrow and is limited or gets in a full practice, and then I don't think there's any concern at all. But if he's a DNP tomorrow, Kyle Hamilton is definitely truly questionable / in doubt for Sunday. So we'll just see how that plays out. There's not enough information to even have really any opinion or emotion about it right now. I know sometimes with all the rest of the injuries, and then you see a Kyle Hamilton not at practice, it seems so negative, so doom and gloom. But I'm not there with Kyle Hamilton yet. I don't know how serious this is. So we'll see and get more information as the week goes here. And Kyle Hamilton is in line to wear the green dot helmet and be the communicator to the defense because Roquan Smith is definitely going to be out this week. That is usually who has the green dot. Kyle's wore the green dot before when Roquan was out, and it actually went really well. But Zach Orr spoke today and said that if Kyle can't go either, they are well prepared for multiple players to have the green dot because they practice with multiple players having the green dot.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about it is at practice, we're allowed to have multiple guys with the green dot, and we've been having that since the springtime. So I personally feel comfortable with all the different options that we have going into a game. Preseason, we good work with that. Like Kyle Hamilton and Roquan Smith didn't play in the preseason, so we'll have guys. It won't be anybody's first time doing it. If they have to do it.
Staying in the secondary, I was hoping Jaire Alexander would be able to go, especially with all of these injuries we have. I mean, Awuzie is not practicing. Nate Wiggins did return to practice, so that's great news. But, I mean, we're going to rely heavily on TJ Tampa, which I don't really think is a bad thing. He's playing really well. We're going to see Keon Martin in the slot for Marlon Humphrey. So having a Jaire at least available for game day doesn't sound like a bad idea. And it sounds like he's close, but from hearing Zach Orr and John Harbaugh talk about Jaire's return, it sounds like it might not be this week, though.
He's getting close. I'm saying that he's getting close. I think he's stacked a good couple weeks of practice. You can see that he's getting his swagger back, like I said last week, and that's continued to trend upward. So when he's fully ready, he'll know, and they'll let us know, and we'll be ready for him, and he'll play great football for us.
Where he's getting closer. Will he be ready this week or not? We'll see. But he's it's, you know, we're measuring that stuff, and I practiced today.
It's pretty crazy that the Ravens activated and played Jaire Alexander week 1 against the Bills. I guess they were just seeing what he had out on the field because he only had 1 week of practice at that point. We're now a month later from that in week 5. And Jaire's been a healthy scratch every week. And now they're saying he's close and getting back to himself. But we're a month into the season and he's still not fully ready. That is crazy that they thought he was ready in week 1. I mean, as fans, we didn't know. We're not really there. Like I thought Jaire Alexander, with how much noise he was making in training camp, and I know he had a little bit of a setback or some pain in the knee, some swelling and stuff. They had to do a little procedure. Maybe that set him back even further, and that's why it's taking another month. But in training camp, he was making some noise. Everybody was raving about him, and he seemed like he was going to be one of the leaders of the team. I was feeling like a Marcus Peters injection into this team, and maybe we still get that. I don't think Jaire's not healthy, so I think down the road we might still get that. But it is weird that he played in week 1 and then he's just been a healthy scratch since. So what they saw in week 1, what we saw on film in week 1, scared everybody, and now it's a month later and he's still not quite ready. Hopefully he can be ready soon though, man. I mean, we need him this week. If Jaire's able to go, like I'd like him to be out there, but if he's not ready to go, I guess you just got to trust the timeline, and hopefully he'll be Jaire Alexander, Pro Bowl level Jaire Alexander down the stretch, and play some meaningful ball for us. Week 5 is here. The season is in full swing, and this year I've teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook to bring you guys an incredible offer. New customers turn $5 into $200 if your bet wins, paid instantly in bonus bets. The crown is yours. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings same game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Just make sure when you sign up to use promo code TFR. Todd Monken spoke to the media today. He talked about how to get this run game going and a response to John Harbaugh being critical of his play calling on Monday.
Well, first off, there's not one thing John said that we didn't already talk about. Not one thing, So there was nothing about that I hadn't already heard or that he didn't already feel. And one thing I've done throughout my career is that you got to look at what you do. And that's what I've done my whole career is, okay, how do we scheme it? How do we coach it? How do we execute it? How was our plan? All of those things when you go into it. And when it's below the line, you got to own it and fix it. And that's what you do. I mean, that's what we do as human beings, right? That's what I've always done my whole career. It's how I got to where I'm here now. There wasn't anything he said that wasn't, that we hadn't already talked about. So that's what you do. You look at it and you say, okay, was that good enough? The expectation here is to be elite, and we've been elite. We're going to continue to be elite. But I got to do it better. We got to do it better, and we'll continue to do it better.
What needs to happen for this running game to be more prominent, consistent, like it was, say, week 1 and all of last year?
Well, it can start by calling it more often, and stacking plays. That's, I'm going to start with calling it more often. Okay, that's a part of it. And stacking plays. You guys hit it over the weeks that I've gotten up here before, which is, okay, we're either getting to the point where we're scoring pretty fast or we're getting off the field fast. And that's not a great recipe because you can't stack plays. The idea of being able to run the ball, stay ahead of the chains, that's a part of it. That's not deflecting. We need to be able to run it better, need to call it more often because we got really good players back there, but we have really good players at a lot of spots. So bottom line is we've had games where we've had some explosive runs and some where we haven't been nearly up to the level that we expect, but it's early and I expect us to really get back on track.
I think getting the run game this week, especially without Lamar Jackson most likely, is more important than ever. And I believe Todd Monken that he is going to just call it more. That is the truth. They got to execute better, but he's got to call more runs. He's got to keep Derrick Henry in the game and run him more often. And he seems to be accountable with that. He admitted that. He admitted that Harbaugh's been on his back. Harbaugh talked to him before Harbaugh came to the media and talked about it. So Monken was already fully aware of all of the criticisms. And one of my criticisms in that situation is, can Harbaugh not see that going on within the game and then, radio to Todd Monken and say something or try to change that? Harbaugh's job is to keep everybody doing their jobs well. Maybe he's just letting them loose a little bit. Hey, Todd, this is your offense. This is your play calling. And then they assess after. I'm not sure, but I feel like it would be a better marriage, and you'd find more success if you adapted in game more. So if Todd Monken starts to abandon the run a little bit, which he has done, and I like Todd Monken, man. I'm not sitting here bashing Todd Monken. I mean, we had one of the greatest offenses in history last year with a very similar team. So it's not like this offense can't find success. I think this offense is way closer to being a great offense than the defense is being a great defense. So the offense is not fully the issue here. I mean, I don't love the offensive line, but it's not like Todd Monken's the worst coordinator. I think he's helped the Ravens here. But he does go away from the run game sometimes and doesn't use Derrick Henry enough. And if Harbaugh's noticing these things, like he came out in the media and talked about, and talked to Todd Monken about, why can't this be in-game adjustments? Why can't John Harbaugh radio to Todd up in the booth and say, hey, you need to keep Derrick in the game. Let's call some more runs. Like, you're getting away from the run game a little bit. Like, let's keep them accountable. That's what the head coach does when you're not calling offensive or defensive plays. I mean, John Harbaugh's not a coordinator. He is a head coach. He's the glue. He's the leader. And he needs to make sure that everyone else is doing their job. So I think that more in-game adjustments should be had there. But regardless, I like the impact and the noise that this has created since this last game for going away from the run, not using Derrick Henry enough. The national media is talking about it a ton. Harbaugh's coming out publicly talking about it. Now Todd Monken's getting asked, why did Harbaugh come out publicly and talk about it? And Monken's like, we already talked about it behind closed doors. Like, Harbaugh's on me about it. Trust me. Like, I know. I got to call more runs. I got to get Derrick Henry more involved. So we'll see if this leads to any changes, but it definitely is being talked about, and I think that is progress. Now, switching over to the defense, which has a lot more issues than the offensive side of the ball, in my opinion. Zach Orr spoke to the media today. He talked about what it's going to take to turn this defense around and that they need to play way more physical. He's been shocked about the missed tackles and just not going out there and playing violent, and he says that will solve a lot of things.
I think we are a physical team, but we got to take it up a notch. And I talked to the guys about that, man. Like, we have to really take it up a notch to another standard. It hasn't been where we want it to be at. Like, our guys playing hard? Yes. Our guys striking blocks? Yes. But we got to take it up to a whole nother level. And that fixes a lot of things from a defensive perspective. And that starts up front in the trenches. So we challenging our guys in the trenches. We need to dominate, man, going forward, no matter who the opponent is. We got to start putting people in the ground, putting people in the dirt. And that's what we got to do. So, I know it sounds good up here, me saying it, but we got to go do it on Sunday. I think we got to hit people harder. Let's start knocking the ball loose. Guys are going for the football. I think fundamentally we're being intentional about attacking the ball, getting our hands up in throwing lanes, and we can't lose sight of that. Yeah, man, tackling something that we work, that's what we got to improve on. That was one of the improvements that we talked about coming out of these first couple games. It's like, you never know. You play however many plays, 60, 70 plays throughout a game, right? And you never know which plays are going to affect it. And in reality, all of them affected. So I just think of situations we had in the game last week where it's like, hey, it's second and 10. We have a guy tackle. Now it's going to be 3rd and 8, where percentages for us to get the stop off the field are going to be high. Now we miss it. It's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. Or it's 1st and 10. We get a guy surrounded. It's going to be 2nd and 9. Right? Okay, we missed a tackle, now the ball goes for 15, 17 yards. So I think we look at it two ways. It's something we definitely have to improve and get better at. We work at it. We got good people who can tackle. We do that. Look how better we're going to be on defense by just simply doing the small fundamental things.
The Ravens definitely have to be playing more physical. I mean, outside of the Cleveland game, they've been pretty soft this year, at least from a Baltimore Ravens defensive standard. I don't know why they're not running around hitting people like they usually do. I don't understand the missed tackles, how many missed tackles there's been. I mean, yes, we've been playing against talented teams, but we're supposed to have one of the best defenses in the league. I mean, on paper, this is one of the best defenses in the league. And after the second half of last year, I thought we were going to come into this year and have a quality defense, and it's been the exact opposite. We have arguably the worst defense in the NFL. We've had the worst 4-week start of a defense in Ravens history. So, I mean, it's been embarrassingly bad. But we'll see what that defense looks like out there on Sunday against the Texans. Like I said, I've lost a lot of confidence, but I will be happy to be proven wrong and them turn this thing around and go out there and punch the Houston Texans in the mouth. I mean, there's opportunity, man. The Houston Texans offensive line is not good. Like, we should be getting pressure consistently. And our D-line outside of Matabike not being there is basically back. I mean, we should have Van Noy. We should have Travis Jones. We got the other guys still there, Tavius, Mike Green, Owe. So let's see if they can get some pressure. Let's see how hard they're hitting on Sunday. Zach Orr says they got to hit harder. I want to see violent football out there on Sunday. And yeah, it will fix a lot of problems. If you're playing a lot harder than the guy in front of you, a lot of other issues go out the window, and the defense is going to play a lot better. So let's get pressure. Let's go out there and hit somebody, and I'll believe it when I see it. But I like the mentality, and if they go out there and back it up and play hard, we can have a lot of success on Sunday. But that's it for today, guys. Glad Nate Wiggins and Ronnie and Tez Walker back to practice. We'll see about Kyle Hamilton. That's definitely one. That's a new one that's up in the air. So tomorrow's injury report and practice attendance is going to be huge. So I'll be on here tomorrow with the game preview episode and also talking more about the injuries as well. But let me know what you're thinking about everything. Do we have a chance Sunday against the Texans? Are you still riding with the Ravens, or is it all over? Let me know in the comments. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens flock. The flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. Podcast, the Flock Rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly.